What's up, guys? So I want to show you correlated trading, how to find correlated pairs in the Forex market. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at pound CAD here, NZD CAD, and these were all setups that I took today. We're going to check it out. I'm going to show you how on multiple time frames you can really dial in. And once you get clear on how the market works together as a whole, then it's going to take your trading game to a whole new level. So let's get on here. Let's check out the pound CAD signal I sent out just a few minutes ago. New York's about to end, and let's dive right into it. All right, guys. So getting into some of these setups, looking at pound CAD and how do we find correlations in markets, right? So one of the ways that I like to do it is by, first off, you got to know what's going on. You got to be on top of the markets, right? So most people, when you sit down at your computer, really have no game plan, really no strategy and no game plan and no system. And beyond that, you're like no way of keeping up on what's going on with the markets, like day after day after day. So, one thing that I do is I set alerts, right? So we go over this in the live calls in the accelerator. These are all different alerts that I have on different pairs off the 4-hour time frame, right? So does that mean I'm going to trade all of them? Definitely not, right? So we have one here on CAD yen. On the momentum, the way this works is that we look for a cross here, and I set an alert, and I made this indicator. This is an indicator that I made so that when it gets an alert, I can potentially go in and then do my due diligence to see if I like it. Now you can see here, here's our pound CAD setup. So this came in quite some time ago, I guess a few hours ago. And, this came in on, wait, actually, this is for the Bollinger Band, one of my other alerts that I have. But this was for pound CAD and was one of the triggers and one of the things that made me look at this setup specifically. But now if you go down to NZD CAD, right? So this is a great looking setup. Another one that we highlighted in the call in the accelerator today. I also sent out a New Zealand Swiss trade to the group. So what I'm doing here is that I'm highlighting NZD weakness and then pinpointing where potentially we might see some strength, right? So here's CAD yen. CAD yen is looking potentially bullish. And from here, it comes to process of elimination. Now, Aussie CAD made a nice move up. I thought we were going to stop right around here, but it seems to be rolling over. And if you go down the line here and see, okay, well, Euro CAD, man, this is looking like a good setup, right? So now what I do is I go down the line, set my alerts on these different pairs one by one, if and only if they meet the criteria of the momentum strategy, right? So I go down the line, set my alerts, and here is an example of one that, looking like a pretty solid momentum cross. Now this is on the 2-hour time frame, and by this you can see you have a push up, move down. We've started to roll over here, and we tested this supply zone right there. Nice little retest of that resistance. And so the way with this would work, of course, it's like 5:20 Eastern time, so the market's just shifted. So gonna give it a little time, but this is how I would look. This would be my setup, and then I would target some lows down here. Already just that in and of itself gives me a 1 to 3 risk to reward. Now there's a few more pieces of that puzzle, but so here's Euro CAD, right? So like by doing this at night before I go to bed, I scan the charts. This is what I would recommend that you do. And in the morning when you wake up, scan the charts with whatever strategy that it is that you're using. Now, I recommend using mine because it works, and it works really well if you follow it and you put in the work and really learn it, right? So now, once you do that and you're doing that at night and you're doing it in the morning, you start to get your thumb on the market, right? Like where you get tapped in, you're like, man, I feel like I know what's going on here, right? I'm starting to see some dots connect. And, that's exactly what you want, because most people think that or beginner traders, that one thing is like totally unrelated to the other, when in my opinion it's just all related, but you got to learn to see the forest from the trees. And most people are just looking at trees, right? So you're just looking at trees, you don't have a strategy, you want to make quick money, and that's not a winning recipe. So getting dialed in, is just essential. Here's New Zealand CAD here. You can see across, boom, right? Crossing the momentum. Now, this is on my list, as well as like, New Zealand Swiss. Which I sent a signal out to the group. Zero drawdown trade. And this is a momentum cross. And so now this is a pretty high probability that we will get some follow through. Looks like maybe we could be making an inverted head and shoulders. But beyond that, it really doesn't matter. What I'm doing is identifying the setup, getting my entry down. The entry is the most important thing. I rarely draw trend lines. You guys see my charts and you see the momentum, you see the setup. Now, I'm not just following an indicator. It's a whole way to view the market from a vantage point to where you're going to stack the odds and really get your edge in your favor. Now, once I do make a move and really, so say for instance here, pound CAD, this looks like a great potential setup. Hopefully we continue to get a move downwards on this next 4-hour candle. So I have the take profit of, the trade setup I sent out to the group at a 1 to 4, which 1 to 4, most people are doing 4 to 1. You're risking 4 to make 1, right? So you're letting your trades run 80 pips and you're cutting them short at, 20 pips, right? So we want to do 1 to 4. Now, that in and of itself would be amazing, but there's a possibility here if this is a full-on trade setup, and it really looks like it has a probability to do that. My next, in terms of technical analysis, then comes the Fibonacci's and really start to match up and start to find the confluences, because with trend lines and support and resistance, however you want to draw them, a lot of those things are super subjective, right? You'd be like, oh, well, this is what I think the trend line is here. And somebody else could be like, this is what the trend line is there, right? So now you could perceive what it is that I'm doing in a whole different way. If you look at one thing and I look at the same thing, and we might see two different things. That's the beauty of trading, right? So that's where the risk management comes in. But doing this is going to get your risk management. Here it is to that 127. Once you start getting into this realm, then we're talking about 1 to 5s, then we're talking about 1 to 6s, and that is where you're going to have your breakthroughs in your trading, right? So now we're starting to fall off here, making some moves on this trade, and it looks great. This is zero drawdown setup. We already sent one out to the group, NZD Swiss, and I've made a trading plan, and I made this at the start of the week on the accelerator call on Tuesday. I talked about, I really like the CAD pairs, the setting up this week. And that's what I've been highlighting. We didn't get as much follow through on AU as I would have liked. But, the analysis is still there and the setup is still there. Aussie CAD, potentially just a bigger pullback, right? Where it looks like we could be breaking down out of this channel. So I hit you with a lot of information right now, but bottom line is you got to get tapped into what's going on. You need a strategy that works for you. You need to actually know risk management and consider your risk to reward. And you need some guidance, more than likely. So, but this is the way to do it. And really identifying what's going on in the market, what your watch list is, what you're trading, and how you're going to trade it is essential. And if you're not doing those things, you might get lucky. You go to a blackjack table and you get hot, you get on winning streak, and then they call in another dealer, and what happens? You get whooped, right? So you got to have that edge. You got to know what that is. If you want to learn it, click the link below. Let's make it happen for you, and you can learn this exact same strategy. I'm not holding anything back. So thanks for watching, everybody. Really, risk to reward. Think about that. And really just think about this a little bit different. You got to put a little more effort in than just sitting down at your computer and let me just see what's going to happen, right? I did that for a super long time. That's what most traders do. And they go into, it's like basically bringing a knife into a gunfight, right? So, but yeah, I appreciate y'all. Great week this week. Click the link below. If you want to learn my strategy, you want to learn from myself, and you want to use this in order to get funded and to really make some moves trading. So thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Peace.